Matthew, first of all, I want to thank you for doing this. It was not spare the moment because we met each other when, in December?
Yeah, I think so.
It was December. And
right at the end of the year.
Yeah, my first time here, 2 rooms. And I have to tell you, the terrace is beautiful.
Oh,
I mean, I really like the view, and I like the ambiance of the whole place. It's just an extra treat to come in and meet you there, and you agreeing to do this.
Right. It's always a pleasure to do things like this for the community.
That's right, because that's what this is all about. I want to start off this way, Matthew, by asking you, what made you get into the restaurant business? I mean, have you done this all your life? I mean, from high school on, you've always liked to cook, because I know you were a chef at one time. But you tell me, what did you?
Okay, well, I'm still a chef. I still do approve and do all of the menus in all of our establishments.
Okay.
Although we've got very good head chefs and a great team to do all the most of the work for us. But I began cooking when I was 17.
17.
17, yeah.
You have a big family?
No, one brother, mother, father.
Older, younger?
Older, 2 years older.
And he didn't cook?
No. He's a very smart guy. He was very good at studying and.
Wait, don't say that you have to. If you're smart, you don't cook. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's usually not your first choice of vocation. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't like school that much. No, nothing to do with the people or anything like it around them, or around the school. But I just didn't really get on with.
And where are you
studying.
from? New Zealand?
I'm from Sydney,
Sydney.
Australia.
Okay,
yeah.
You're Australian.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. So my mother said to me, if you want to leave school, and it was a very nice school, I must say, and I've still got a very good network from that school. If you want to leave school, then you have to have a job, basically. Okay. So I wanted to do landscape gardening. I always liked nature and all that sort of thing. And landscape gardening is quite a big job in Australia. It's very well. Australia is basically a big rural town, isn't it? When you look at like America, New York, that sort of thing. Right. And so a lot of people do landscape gardening over there. And I wanted to do that because I loved cultivating and growing things and all that sort of thing. And I went to the school where they teach that vocation.
At what age?
16, just before 17.
Because the system's a little different. Of course, it's the British system.
Yes, it is. Right?
Yes. Yeah, you have levels, A levels, B levels, that kind of thing.
Not that I'm aware of. No.
How does? Because you do have. When you graduate from high school, you can go straight into a career.
Yes. Right. You can.
So they have. So and then you do what? 2 years. It depends on what the career is going to be.
Well, it depends on the person as well, right? I mean, you can do anything you want in life, right?
Okay.
But to get a certification for a certain trade, then yes, you need to go to school.
Okay. So you went to landscaping.
I went to landscape gardening, and the vocational officer at that school said, if you do this job, you realize by the time you're about 50 or so, your knees will be gone because of all the heavy lifting and squatting, yeah, sandstone bricks, very popular in Australia, all that sort of thing. And a guy was walking past and he had a big white hat on, and I said, what does that guy do? And she said, he's a chef, he's learning to be a chef. And I said, well, I'll do that.
That's how it started?
That's how it started, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my mum was with me and she was like, okay, let's see where this leads. And I just followed that path. Got a job straight away. I was very lucky to get a job straight away. And yeah.
Well, after how many years in school? How many years did you have to study?
Well, for a little.
You were 16. You went to 17.
So I think I started. We have year 7, 8, 9, 10. You do the school certificate.
Right.
Then you have year 11 and 12.
Right. We call that still high school, but you're actually doing a trade.
No, but I went up to year 11.
Okay, year 11, okay.
And then I dropped out, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you pass year 12, that's called the Higher School Certificate in Australia.
What is it called?
HSC, Higher School Certificate.
Higher School Certificate, okay.
Yeah. So I never reached that.
Right.
I did my school certificate and then left.
What you get at 11th? 11th, you get your school certificate.
11th grade. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, but when you from the 11th grade, that's when you started cooking?
Straight away. No break,
Okay.
nothing. Yeah.
And how long did you do that before you got a job?
Well, I'm still doing it.
No.
But-
No, but I'm saying no. So you're saying, wait, after you finished 11th grade, you got a job as a cook,
Yes.
but you hadn't learned how to cook yet.
No, but you have an apprenticeship.
Okay, but they're paying you for during this apprenticeship.
Yeah,
Just,
not
they're,
very
ba-
much.
they're giving you enough just to get back to work the next day.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so to do it properly, because I always had how would you say? My father was he was very good at retail. He had jewelry shops all around Sydney.
Okay.
And I always wanted to be better than him for some reason.
He didn't want to. Why didn't he want you in his business? Or did he want you in his business?
I offered to go in there and he said, no, you're not suited for it.
What about your older brother?
No, he chose not to as well. We both worked part-time for him while we were at school,
Oh yeah.
but he didn't think we had the passion for it.
He could see you didn't have the passion.
He
didn't
could
think
see.
you. He could see that you guys were just there.
Just doing it for
Right.
the sake of doing it.
How long did you have to work with him total?
With my dad?
Yes.
Well, I never actually worked with him. It was more
I mean, yeah. Okay.
in his shops.
Okay.
I don't know, a couple of years, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. Since
Did he really? Did he pay you?
Oh yeah. Part-time job.
Okay.
So the minimum wage, I think,
Right.
was I don't know what it was. But
Is he still doing it?
No, he's retired now. He's
Is he retired?
81 years old.
So that doesn't, come on, you're retired when you take your last breath. That's my belief. Anyways, so 81. How long has he been retired? When did he retire?
I don't know, about 10 years ago.
Okay, so while he was in the 70s.
Yeah, he sold the shop and
Okay.
or shops, 2 shops. He
Okay.
sold both of them to the same guy, and he's doing very well in
That's
real
interesting.
estate.
So he just basically supported you in what you wanted to do because he knew you didn't want to do what he was doing.
Support in what way?
I mean, verbally.
Monetarily.
I mean, emotionally. He didn't give you any grief over it.
Not really. It was all done. I can honestly say that I did it all myself.
Okay.
Yeah. But I came from a very nice family, so I guess the support was, having a place to stay.
Okay.
And
So you
living
stayed with him during your apprenticeship?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I left home fairly soon. Though. I left home at 18, I think.
That wasn't long at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you went
No.
off and then you got your own place and you continued to cook. What kind of restaurant were you working at?
It was a place called Spittler's. It was down by the Spit, which is next to Manly, which is a famous beach in Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
So it's no longer there. It's now an Italian restaurant, quite a famous one actually.
Mm-hmm.
You come down the road from Mossman, and then there's the Spit, and it's actually one of the only bridges in Australia that still. How do you say that?
Operates. Oh yeah, still
Yeah.
draws. A drawbridge.
Yeah,
It's still
to let all the yachts
But
through.
that area is called the Spit?
It's called the Spit, yeah.
Okay.
The Spit in between Manly and Mossman.
Okay. And you worked in a place there. How long did you work there? Italian restaurant.
Not long, 6 months or so. It was 80 hours a week. It was very bad pay, but it was a great experience. And I left there and I was like shell shocked, and went to a cafe, I think, to make sandwiches because I really, just wanted to have a bit of a break after.
Okay, but
that
tell me what kind of
experience.
things you do. What did you?
The
Give me a little bit of the
first
Spitz
job?
experience. Yes.
The first job was I used to come home black because, literally black.
Soot from all the soot and.
From all the squid ink.
Okay, talk to me. I know it was an Italian restaurant.
No. This was a seafood restaurant.
Seafood restaurant.
It's now an Italian restaurant.
Now it's an Italian restaurant. Okay, seafood.
Yeah.
So they specialize in squid.
No, just seafood. But
Right.
one of the things on the menu was calamari, fried
Okay.
calamari, right?
Right.
And it was all fresh. It was a very nice restaurant actually
Okay.
back in the day. And you'd pull the octopus or squid or whatever, and they've got this little
Sack with all the ink in it.
the ink sack. And I would come home totally.
Why would it be all over you that way?
Because I wasn't good.
Just squirt up in your face and everything.
Yeah,
in your
my
hands,
clothes, everywhere. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, does it stay for long? You can't wash it off easily.
No, and it gets under your fingernails and everything. It's not there now. After
So people
years.
thought you had. So when you walked around, people thought you had a disease or something, right?
I would finish late at night. No one would see me leaving that restaurant.
So what about you? You had no social life because of how long you worked?
No, not really. No. I used to hook up with some friends occasionally from the school that I went to.
Okay.
But very rarely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So not much social life, and would have to drive everywhere because back in those days there was basically no public transport.
Right. And also in Australia, you get your license really early, right? What, 15 and a half?
Yeah, quite young. Well, in Australia it's very different to like Tokyo, for example. You have to drive.
Right. You don't have public transportation.
You can't get anywhere.
You can't get anywhere, so they want you to, yes.
Exactly.
So when you left the restaurant, after you left that area, then you went and you started at a little cafe, you said, and you were making sandwiches? So how long did you do that?
Not sure. I don't even have it on my resume.
All right.
So I think it was a few months, 3 months or so.
All right. Then from there to where?
From there, I was still doing my apprenticeship. And I think, then I went to Balthazar, where I met Cos.
Whom?
Cos Saltis. He was the owner of this restaurant. It was in a beautiful National Trust building, quite famous back in the day. Nobody would know about it now. But we used to get quite a few.
No, when you say back in the day, I'm always curious. Your back in the day and my back in the day are probably different. How old are you now?
I'm 50 years old, 1970.
You look really young now. Wait,
thank you. It's because I shaved my hair and I put a lot of
Wait, if you didn't, it should be all gray or something like mine, though.
I can tell you a secret later.
All right, okay. You're 50 years old now?
Yes.
All right, so you made it half a century. Look at you. All right, there you go.
Yeah.
So back in the day it would be close to my time then too, a decade away. Decade away and a little bit.
How old are you now?
68.
Okay.
So a decade and a little bit, almost 2 decades away, but still. So back during that time it was
we can
famous.
be relative, I think.
You're right.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing. You know what a record player is, and
I do.
You've seen a dial phone.
I used to call like
48.
that,
No,
000.
Which kids now, 10 generations, they don't, 10-year-olds don't know. They don't have a clue.
Yeah, I saw it on TikTok the other day doing a competition, like, do you know how to use this thing?
Right. And you start looking at it, you think, we take so much for granted, because they can't even write now. That's become an art form, because they're told not to. Just text it to me or whatever.
Exactly.
But anyway, so you left, you did that, then back in the day, the place was famous you were talking about.
Yeah, semi-famous. Yeah.
Okay. And what'd you do, what kind of restaurant was it?
That was like a eclectic type of thing, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, which was just coming in back in those days. French food was still big in Sydney back in those days.
How many restaurants have you worked at up till now?
Oh, quite a few.
Would you say, just
off the top of my head?
Yes.
Maybe 10 or so.
Okay, all right. What are some of the most impressive times out of those 10 that really, something stuck because of the people or the food or something you did that you said, whoa?
I would have to say the one that helped me along the way to get to where I am is probably Tetsuya's in Sydney.
In Sydney's, okay.
Yeah, he was. He's still quite famous today, and he was best restaurant in Australia for many years, and
Tetsuya.
Still very highly regarded.
Japanese?
Japanese, yes, very
Tetsuya.
Japanese.
Okay.
Japanese with a little bit of Western influence thrown in there. Yeah, so I was there for a year and a half. Back in '94, I think, '94, something like that. And then England, America was very influential as well. I was in Washington, DC. I was there for a year and a half as well, almost 2 years. And we got Best Restaurant in America back in '97.
Okay.
By Ruth Reichel. Yeah, Ruth Reichel.
Yeah.
Okay, and Best New Restaurant in North America. Yeah, so that was quite exciting, and I was a sous chef there, so that was really good.
That was a nice.
Coming from England, yeah. And then Mexico stands out as well. I was in Mexico, opened up these beautiful haciendas in Yucatan, and I didn't speak a word of Spanish. Landed in Yucatan. My God, it was crazy. It was owned. You know what a hacienda is?
I know. The villa or hacienda? Yes.
Yeah, so a huge mansion.
Huge
basically.
mansion, okay.
Huge mansion, homestead, kind of like in America, right?
Okay.
Homestead kind of thing, and it's built around this plantation called Henneken. Okay. Henneken was the toughest natural fiber known to man back in the day. Like BMW, Mercedes, all these guys would use Henneken fibers because they were inflammable.
Okay. They weren't. Yeah. Okay.
They weren't flammable.
They weren't flammable.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like insulation in
the
cars,
doors and
in the
inside of
cars
things.
everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. Okay.
And then of course synthetic fibers came along and Henneken was obsolete.
Right.
Yeah. But back in the day that was the big thing. So they built all these big homesteads, and then of course all the natural synthetic the synthetic stuff came along, and all the automobile manufacturers and all those sort of guys that use that sort of those fibers and that fabric, they didn't need it anymore. So then these homesteads or haciendas became obsolete, and they just went to rack and ruin.
They went to
rack and ruin.
Rack and ruin. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay,
basically they're obsolete. And then many years later, this guy called Roberto Hernandez, who owned Banamex, which was the biggest bank in Mexico back in the day, which has subsequently been bought out by Citibank. So it's now Citibank in Mexico. He bought up all these haciendas, like 30, I think it was 32 of them.
Okay.
And one of them was, 5 of them he made into 5-star boutique hotels. And he got this group called Aman. Do you know Aman?
No.
It's a very luxurious hotel chain.
Okay.
Basically. And he asked Aman to run these haciendas for him and set them up in their group, so to speak, under their umbrella. And Adrian Zecco, who was the founder of Aman, said, let's call them GHM, which is not Aman, not like luxury, but more of a casual type ambience, but still 5-star. Okay. If that makes sense.
Right, it does.
Yeah. So they needed someone, Aman needed someone to come in and run the food and beverage for these haciendas. And I was introduced by a guy. I was working in Melbourne at the time, and they interviewed me in Sydney, in Melbourne, got the job. They flew me straight to Mexico. And it all happened very quickly. And I landed, and it was just like so nerve-wracking. I mean, you're talking about like rattlesnakes, tarantulas,
right.
Mayan people everywhere who didn't speak a word of English,
okay.
and half of them know Spanish.
Right.
And I didn't speak any Spanish or Mayan.
Right.
So it was very daunting.
But I wouldn't think that the creatures would have bothered you so much coming from Australia. I mean, that's nothing. You have some of the deadliest creatures on the planet there. You got to be kidding me.
That's true.
That didn't bother you.
But when you're going down a rocky path and you see this rattlesnake,
rattlesnakes coming up,
like this,
yes,
and
ready
it's got
for
its
you. All right.
tail going like that.
Did you ever have any incidents?
Oh yeah,
but,
many.
But you never got bitten or anything like that.
No. But it was rough.
You had some frights.
Yeah, but it was very interesting. I loved it. I mean, that's why I'm telling you now, because it was really stands out in my mind.
Wow.
I had a pet tarantula on my ceiling, because you always have a tarantula in your house, because the tarantula eats the scorpions.
Right.
And if the scorpions drop on you while you're sleeping,
you could have a problem.
They can kill you.
Yes, right.
So you always have a tarantula in your house to eat the scorpions.
And you don't have to worry about the tarantula biting you.
No, tarantulas are totally safe.
I've held one in my hand before.
They're totally fine.
They told me to close my eyes and.
Well, the mouth is on the bottom of their belly, right?
Right.
So if you flip them,
like you're gonna go I'm gonna disarm you real quick. No, I don't think that's the way.
Which is what the locals actually used to do for fun.
Yeah, I can imagine this for fun. Just flip a tarantula.
Exactly. It's a true story. Crazy things have happened.
So tell me, Matthew, you worked at the New York Bar and Grill.
I did, yes. Sorry, that should be one of them as well. I worked at the New York.
See, you didn't say anything about that. I was wondering. I said, you worked
Tokyo's
there.
always last on the list of interesting
because you're still
things.
here.
Yeah.
And you've been in Tokyo for how long now? Or Japan?
November 21, 2001. Yeah, I arrived at at dusk.
Oh, it's been
like 4 o'clock. Yeah. 4 o'clock at Narita.
So 19 years, yeah.
And landed in Park Hyatt at about 6:30, I think,
19
in the evening.
Years.
Yeah, because I remember going past Shinjuku, and it was just getting dark.
It was your first time here?
Well, I came here for the interview from Mexico.
Okay.
I was living in Mexico City at the time, which is another story, but I got offered the job of New York Grill, and then they flew me from Mexico City to Tokyo, and that was the first time.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long? You just stayed for a couple of days then, right?
No, I stayed for a week in Park Hyatt.
Okay.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't fully appreciate it because I didn't.
You didn't know what it compared to what? Yeah.
No. I
That's
mean,
right.
I was in Mexico City. The best thing there at the time was Camino Real,
Okay.
and that's nothing now, from what I understand.
Okay. All right. All right. So you worked there. You worked there for how long? Were you at the
3
park?
years.
3 years.
Yeah, it was.
And I used to go there when they first opened. I
Oh,
went there
thank
quite
you.
often. Yeah.
Mm.
I was there, and that's why I knew the chef prior to you, or maybe two prior to you.
Well, Angela.
Angela, yeah.
Angela was the
Yeah.
first little Irish lady, right?
Yeah.
Never met her, but I heard a lot of
Yeah,
stories.
yeah. She was good. And the glass, it was a glassed-in kitchen. It was
Yeah.
really nice. So you could go by there and you'd say hello. I went because I loved going there,
Yeah.
and I knew two musicians who came every so often. And whenever they came, I'd bring them to my home and I'd take them to the American Club
Okay.
and we did stuff like that. So tell me, from there, you started your own business.
Yes. No. From there, I was asked to be the executive sous chef, which means you're one under the executive chef of Grand Hyatt Tokyo. So I worked with Joseph Bude, who was the executive chef, who's quite famous. I don't know if you know him, but old German guy. He was considered one of the best.
I think I've probably seen him when I
you would know
I'm
him,
sure
yeah.
would have known him, yeah.
He was one of the guys that was considered one of the best in Hyatt in the world.
Okay.
As not more of a, he was executive chef, but he was more of a marketing guy, and full of charisma, and just one of those guys that you really want to know, So then I only stayed there for 9 months, and then I was asked to be the executive chef of Hyatt Regency Kyoto. So I opened that up, about 16 years ago now. Yeah. And then after that, during that time, I met my two business partners, Nathan Smith and Eddie Baffo.
Okay.
And Nathan and I met a long time ago, back in New York Grill times. So we concocted a.
So what are their jobs? Are they cooks as well?
No.
Are they chefs? I mean,
so Nathan is a service / manager type position.
Okay.
And Eddie is 100% bar network kind of guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So bar? What do you mean? He worked behind a bar. He knows the business.
He knows the business.
Everything about a bar.
Oh yeah,
okay.
yeah. He's our network guy.
So tell me, how did it get started? I mean, you guys got together, or you just kept on dropping little notes? I mean, what happened that made you become partners?
Well, Nathan and I had a very good rapport because Australia and New Zealand, it's basically the same country, right? Even though we have these little,
all blacks
Australia better than New Zealand, but it's actually rubbish. It's we're all together when it comes to life in general, basically. But when it comes to cricket or rugby, it's a different story.
Right.
So we were always close, and Nathan actually hired Eddie as the Oak Door barman.
Because
Nathan
Hyatt used to be at the Grand Hyatt.
Yeah, Nathan came to
at the Oak Door.
He came to Tokyo to be the first manager of the Oak Door.
Okay.
Yeah, he was very young. I think he was like 27 or something like that. Yeah, really young for the position, but he was obviously good enough. And he actually hired Eddie to be the bar, to be behind the bar, not the bar manager, but behind the bar at Oak Door.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So how long did he stay there? How long was he there?
How long did he stay there?
Stay there, yeah.
I'm not sure. It was a long time though.
Okay.
Would have been, because I went to Kyoto, so he would have been there for about 5 years or so.
Okay. Right.
But he got promoted as well to assistant food and beverage manager, which is basically the same as executive sous chef. And then he went to Park Hyatt to be the food and beverage manager of the whole hotel. Right. And I went to Kyoto to be the
So you didn't know him then?
Chef. I did know him.
You already knew him,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, we met at New York Grill.
Okay, so how'd you get together? What made you, how'd you form this partnership?
I'm not sure. We all wanted to.
You woke up one day and said, "I own 3 restaurants." Is it 3 or 4? How many? 3?
We own 3,
You own 3,
and
okay.
we've got a very strong interest in Manila as well.
Okay.
In the Philippines.
Now name the 3 you have.
2 rooms.
2 rooms.
Ruby Jack's Steakhouse, and we also have another steakhouse in Nihonbashi, Takashimaya. It's Septieme because it's on the 7th floor.
7th floor. Okay.
Yeah, steakhouse.
Okay.
Yes.
And which one has the biggest client? I mean, has the most traffic?
This one definitely.
This one does.
2 rooms, yeah.
Okay. And then next would be
Ruby Jack's.
Ruby Jack's. Okay.
Yeah, and the Septieme is getting there, but it's currently closed because of Corona.
Really?
Yeah. So it's
in the area that it's in.
situation.
Right.
Yeah, that area is quite difficult because it's more of an older clientele, and that everyone's scared about Corona, of course.
Right.
So.
How long have all of them been open?
Well, this one opened March 26, 2009.
Okay. And
And then Ruby Jack's, oh God, you got me now, 6 years ago.
Okay, about 6 years ago. And
Yeah. Septieme,
Septieme
2 years
is-
ago.
2 years ago. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your most recent.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
And you take care of the food in all of them.
Yeah, so basically I'm in charge of all the cuisine, all the food. Eddie's in charge of all the bar,
Right.
wine, that sort of thing. And Nathan oversees the financial side of things and the service. But at the end of the day, we all sit on the same table and we all make the important decisions together.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did it get started?
I
What brought you together? What made you want to do this then? Just from your viewpoint then. What made you decide to do this?
I think,
It's something you've always wanted to do?
yeah, I
Okay.
can honestly say that. Yeah. We worked in Hyatt, and Hyatt is very highly regarded, especially in Asia, for its food and beverage operations. One of the best, if not the best, hotel when it comes to food and beverage. And we were already at the top of our game. And we thought, what's the next step? Do we want to continue with this, or do we want to try something by ourselves? And with all respect, going to Hyatt, we could have stayed there very easily, to tell you the truth. But we decided to take a risk and jump out and try it for ourselves.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is very, very interesting. Because having started my own business, I've always wanted to do it. I've always wanted to do a business. And it's interesting. All 3 of you, would you say basically had the same feeling? You wanted to do your business, or you just...
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because when you're working for someone, you have a certain barrier, right? You can't really go over that. You can't, how do you say? I mean, you're working for someone, but to work for yourself is a totally different.
So how is it different for you, having these 3 restaurants? What do you enjoy about it that you wouldn't be able to enjoy if you were still at the Hyatt? Or not at Hyatt, or work for anyone else?
We have a lot of freedom.
In what way?
Well, freedom to express yourself, to do whatever you think is best, without asking anyone.
All right.
Which can be positive and negative.
Well, what kind of things have you done here, for example, that you'd say you didn't have to ask anyone, you just, boom?
Well, the easiest one is put oysters on the menu.
And that can mean a lot.
That can mean a lot. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Hyatt, no oysters. If you
I
go
know,
to any.
because I know. Well, at TAC we had to stop too.
Yep.
All it takes is one person.
Yep.
And I don't like to say it. If you're not in the right group, you're going to be.
Yep.
You know what I mean? They'll point you out and it's done. That's what happened.
Exactly. So.
You know what I mean? And if everyone, come on, you've got to be kidding. You're dealing with oysters.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
It's
not
gotta
a
be done
restaurant.
properly.
That's right.
And you need a license for it, the whole thing.
And they keep. Yes, it's very controlled here.
It's our biggest seller on the menu, though.
I would imagine so, because you can't get it everywhere.
You can't get it everywhere.
See, you've been a member of TAC for how long?
Oh, not long at all.
Okay, right. Because we used to
2
have
years
it
or so.
at the old club. We had it until an incident.
Oh, really? Yeah,
They shut down 3 of our kitchens, and it was written up in the newspaper. They just made it so it wasn't worth us to even try to do it again. And it wasn't like someone died or anything. They got sick, like most people,
Just one person?
No, it was a group. He had a group,
Oh, okay.
and there were 15 in the group.
Wasn't a wedding or anything like that.
No, it was a group, and he had his group, and some of them said they got sick, which is possible. You're eating oysters. What do you expect? Oh, come on.
Well, we've had some
Minor
complaints, but then we have a look at the check and it's like, well, you did have like 6 martinis and a bottle of wine, and
And you know what he's doing before
like,
then, right? Exactly.
Maybe it wasn't the oysters,
You know. But if he would have made us think about it, you guys wouldn't be doing it.
We're pretty good when it comes to that sort of thing.
That's good.
And all the oysters are open to order.
Say it again?
All the oysters are open to order.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's nothing that comes in a bag or anything like that.
Right.
It's all fresh. We've got our own tank.
Okay.
You know, so it's all pretty clean.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. What causes people to get sick with it? What is usually because some of them are dead already when they come in a bag? Or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. I mean, if the shell's open, it's not a good sign.
It's not a good sign.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's the norovirus and
That's right.
things like that.
Yeah. I had to learn about all that when I was
Salmonella.
I had to learn about all that. I had to go through the courses just so I could be in the kitchen and go see
really?
everyone. Oh yeah, just to go, just
to check, right?
They were making things a little more complicated than they needed to be. But I went through everything.
No, it's good though.
I think it was. I didn't mind.
No, it's good to know all facets of the operation.
That's true.
I mean, all 3 of us can pick up on things from a different one's a department, so to speak, and pick it up and say, hey, that's wrong. You know, if Eddie's not here and a gin and tonic goes out and it doesn't look right, I will know the difference.
You know the difference.
Just by looking at it, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but I can't make it as good as him.
I understand.
But you need to know what's good and what's bad.
Basically, yeah.
Standards.
So you guys get together.
Standards in any operation.
You have a family.
Yes.
How many children do you have?
2 kids and 1 dog.
The
dog is considered our daughter as well.
That's not unusual for many families. I mean, they love their pets. What about your partners? They all have families as well?
Yes. What's
Your partners, do they have families as well?
Eddie, yes, he's got a wife and 3 kids.
Okay.
And Nathan, no, he's single.
Okay.
Yep.
Right. What do you
Still looking.
That's what keeps them single, huh?
Yeah, we have a few discussions about that one.
Tell me this, what do you see happening in the future? What would you like to see happen with your restaurants, let's say 5-10 years from now?
Not sure. I mean, this one is definitely the legacy of the whole thing. You know, this is we have international press, and not blowing our own trumpet or anything like that, but we do have a lot of press, international and domestic, and we've had a lot of famous people come in and out of here. And
such as, and give me some names. Just name drop real quick.
I mean, Mark Zuckerberg comes in sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, when he's in town. Yeah, and other guys that I prefer not to mention.
You're right. But
yeah,
that's one.
Yeah,
that's a big one too.
So I think this would be the one that will be the legacy. But Ruby Jack's Steakhouse is named after my grandparents, Ruby and Jack. So that's very close to my heart as well. So yeah, in 5 or 10 years, I'm not sure. I can't really tell you, but if we can operate these without me being 100% hands-on, that would to allow me to enjoy other things, then that would probably be the way to go.
You're thinking about opening other restaurants? You said in Manila, right?
I mean, if depends on what happens. You know, I mean, maybe a bit of consultancy here and there. If someone came in and said, you know, I'll give you this to open this, and if it fitted into our lifestyle and what we wanted to do as a group, then yeah, sure, we'd consider it. Yeah.
I mean, how has Corona affected your restaurants? Particularly this one, your main.
Well, the thing about, I mean, as you know, being here for so long, the Japanese people really do listen to what they're told. It's not like Australia or America or whatever. They do what they want to do. In Japan, they actually follow what the government says. So if the government says we would prefer it if you served your last alcoholic beverage.
That's how they do it, actually.
At 7 o'clock.
You're closing at 7 o'clock.
Then nobody will order a drink after 7 o'clock.
They won't.
Yeah, so we've had to curb our hours of operation to meet the requests from the government.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank God the government's giving us subsidies as well.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Have you been able to take advantage of all of them?
Of course, yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that. They don't know how to do it.
What,
Because
the foreigners or the Japanese?
I would say some of the Japanese, because some of the people that need it, the small mom and pop shops, they don't realize, like, you can get several, because I have a couple of companies, and you just have to know what to do, and some of them require a lot of paperwork. So
That's true. We've got a very good back of house, and we've got a good back of house.
Okay, yes.
So we've got an accountant in there.
And he's keeping up on it.
Oh yeah, totally.
That's very good.
He's a good guy. I mean, my wife is the PR manager for the group.
Okay.
So she picks up on all the little snippets of information.
So she's always paying attention, right?
Always paying attention. Yeah.
That's good.
Always.
You need that. So I take it your wife's Japanese.
She is, yes.
That's
yeah,
very
from
good.
Iwate.
Iwate-ken.
Yeah,
Okay.
Miyako.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Wow. The thing we have in common is that we're both members of one of the clubs here, the private members club here. You enjoy the club?
I do, yeah. I didn't go there today, but I'm there most days.
Yeah. When do you play squash? What time?
In the mornings.
I'm there in the morning, every morning.
Oh, really?
I come in well, now they start opening early in the morning.
Okay.
From 6:30. It used to be 7:30. Yeah, it was 7:30 for a while. Now they're just, because they're closing earlier, so they're giving us some time. And then I come in 6:30 and I stay until usually about 11.
Oh, really?
But I'm in the music room, which is
Okay.
just, you have to pass that. You probably don't even know where it is.
I do, actually,
Yeah,
with
'cause
the
there's
piano
two
in
of
it,
them.
right?
There's one with the piano, that's the blue room, and then the burgundy room is the one next to it, and I'm in there
Okay.
playing my sax.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, practice. We're trying to play at it. So I do that. Do you play any instruments?
I don't.
You don't?
Uh,
Okay.
I've been pushed by my children and my wife to learn piano, and I did go to some
amazing.
lessons, and I'm now getting a lot of slack because I'm not continuing with the lessons.
Because you have other things. What do you do outside of playing squash? You just told me you broke your.
Sorry.
You broke your heel. Your ankle.
My foot.
You broke your foot.
Left foot.
Playing squash.
I know I was doing a lot of exercise at home, which entailed running on the spot and skipping on the terrace, which is hard brick kind of tile sort of stuff. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it was squash.
You know where, but anyway, it's.
I think that exacerbated it. You know, maybe that was the catalyst to fracture it. But I'm pretty sure it was something else got it to that stage.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. So what would you do outside of that? What do you do with your leisure time?
It's basically taken up here, and I walk a lot. I listen. I don't have much time to read books, so I listen to books. So you'll see me walking the streets, listening to books. And
What kind of books what do you like to listen to?
at the moment, I'm listening to crime fiction.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's what you like to get into. Something that takes you out of this space and puts
Exactly.
you somewhere else.
kind of like a
I
voyeur.
like to
right?
imagine. Yeah. Oh yeah, we all have to have our
Yeah.
things. I like listening to, yeah.
Really?
But yeah, books on tape.
What do
I
you
love
listen
it.
to?
Well, it's usually the latest ones. This other one, You Can't Wait. Can't Hurt Me. And I forget the guy's name, but he runs these long distances, like 9 or 100 miles, and he just runs. He's been through all kinds of stuff. I like listening to that. I like listening to self-help books. That I enjoy. But I've listened to people's biographies. I like listening to that because I'm interested in that.
Obama's great.
I listened to his. He was a good orator too.
Oh,
He's a good speaker.
the best
Did
in
you
the
hear
world,
it?
huh? Yeah.
It was just. He
Trevor
knew
Noah's
just
good
when
as
it just seems so. A lot of them are really good.
Have
I
you
think-
read Trevor Noah's books?
I did one of his, yes.
Yeah,
Because
that
this
was
is
good.
interesting. It's interesting to hear his.
He's a funny guy, but he's also very smart.
He's very what?
Very smart.
No doubt about it. He's very well read.
Very well read. Yeah.
Very well read. And that's why he does what he does.
Yeah.
Something I hope to be someday, but I've never. I was like you.
I'm pretty sure you're there already.
No, there's so much I really want to learn about. And I like talking to people. That's why I thought this would be right up my alley. To hear about your life and what you've been doing and how you did it, what made you decide it. So how do you see? So you see yourself selling this someday and maybe retiring like your dad? Saying, Dad, guess what? It took you till you were in your 70s. I did mine when I was 60.
Hopefully before then.
Before that,
Yeah, it depends on what's offered and what opportunities arise. But yeah, we've got.
So you wouldn't be opposed to that? Someone coming along, if they have the right number,
if they have the right number, yeah.
and your partners feel the same?
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys coming in to win it. You're in it to win it.
Yeah, but we didn't open it for that purpose, though.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but I mean, in order to be there, you have to be good at what you do.
Yeah.
And you want to provide a product. I'm believing this is your motive for the community you're in at such a level that somebody would say, "Hey, that is bad." Like the Hyatt. Very, very. That's why they own their own restaurants.
Exactly.
They don't let anyone come in. They say, because we know how we want it to be done.
We know how to do it. Yeah. So we would anticipate someone coming in, dropping a lot of money, hopefully, and then us staying on the board and being kind of like advisors.
Right.
But that's definitely not happening at the moment.
Well, nothing's happening right now.
But
It's a good
and
time
that's
for
definitely
introspection.
in the future.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not 100% going to happen. So
Yeah.
and we're fine either way.
Right. Right. Matthew, I want to thank you for taking the time to do this with me.
You're very welcome. Anytime.
And after I finish with it, I'll get you a copy of it so you can look at it.
Oh, thank you.
And you haven't said anything that people won't be pleased about hearing. I guarantee that.
That's
I
good.
guarantee that.
It's
I
good
think
to
your
know.
partner's gonna like that. So thanks again.
No, very nice to meet you.
Same here. And I hope this isn't the last time.
Oh, it won't be.
Let's do it again.
Definitely.
For sure.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. Thank you.